Hey, what's going on, you guys? Today we have a match between um, Jax and Voltaire. So, yeah, we're gonna take a look here first at Jax's list. And tonight, streaming with me is Dormacy. So, give a big welcome to him. And
Hello.
yeah, we'll get
Hi.
things going. Yeah. What do you have to say about Jax's list here?
Jax's list I like quite a bit. We're seeing a lot of blue red in the pool for this season. But the Han is interesting. I think a lot of people are going like red green. There's even a double red in this season's top cut. But I really like the red blue. It gives you a little bit more of like a control game plan mid game, and then you have some really nasty closers. So definitely a fan. Curious to see how this like very like minion heavy deck plays out. Not a lot of spells in the mix. You have a few early game, but kind of relying on like removal sticks going into the late game here. I think it's not a bad strategy. There's some really strong stuff that you're not so worried about them being -2 HP.
Right. Yeah, I'm a big fan as well of a lot of these late game things that uh, Jax can bring in with the Crate Dragon, of course. Chewbacca
Hmm.
Pike's Bane is just an amazing card. So yeah, I really think that this list has a lot of punching power, and of course it's above weight with the Han bringing in cards that are not seen for another round typically. -2 HP, but as we'll see, I don't think Voltaire is going to have much answers to a lot of these late game units, which could cause some serious problems for him. I think. Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah, you want to take a look
Sorry,
at
I
this
still
one?
need a screen share from you.
Oh, yep. Let me get that on.
But yeah, the Jax list is very interesting. And I'm honestly just seeing for the first time that they have the security complex on there, so a little bit of extra insurance on anything that does go down a couple health points when it enters the field. If you want it to stick around, that is a good way to keep that going. You do sacrifice 5 health there, which is meaningful, as we found out in the first season of this game. But something like Obi-Wan, with Sentinel, if that sticks to the board. Poe, another one, you really want that one to stick around. And the power of Green Han is that you can give it ambush and force that first interaction, but you need to keep it alive for a turn. And so Security Complex is a really good way to set that up.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's a great idea there with the security complex. Let's take a quick look here at Voltaire's list. So like we were talking about, it's named as All Breaks Only Space, and it's got a ton of space units.
Yeah, this one is really interesting. I feel like this screams experimental to me, but I am really curious to see how it plays out. I think there's a few lists in Top Cut that are kind of like forcing a lane, and now with an expanded card pool, you can say like I'm gonna go on this like heavy space game plan, and that I'm gonna be really strong there and like control ground by the wayside, and you're doing that with overwhelming barrage, with swoop down, trying to get these big space units on board early. But it's very interesting, and Moff Tarkin, someone we did not see very frequently in the first release, but experience does stack up, and you're running a lot of Imperials here across the board. Everything on the lower end of the curve benefits from Moff Tarkin.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The players are ready, so we're gonna get right into this match. But yeah, very excited to see how this, yeah, like you mentioned, very experimental Tarkin list will perform. Naturally, maybe there's a little bit of work to be done, but that's the whole point of this tournament is to really crack in and see what works and yeah, just try your best. So I'm really excited to see because if Moff Tarkin could do it, there's a lot of other lists that could be potentially really strong in the space arena as well. So be a good one.
Absolutely. And we are going to see an opening with this Incinerator Trooper, a new card. Has kind of the Han effect where damage is dealt first by the Trooper. So they can kind of quick attack on things of a similar strength, and that can really kind of take the board over really quickly if they can get pumps. Tarkin is a really strong leader to like fully exploit that. You're seeing now immediate 3/3, and next turn that could trade very cleanly with the Yoda unless there's any sort of buffs on their side.
Yeah, he's got another pump here with the Outland
Oh,
TIE
yeah.
Vanguard. and I think that's going to be security complex already being used on Yoda to keep him alive here.
Yeah, yeah, kind of forcing that almost, and you really do want to have that on a bigger target. Your trades are more valuable as the game goes on, so um, that could be really tough. This honestly is going to net Voltoir 4 damage as well because now the Yoda can swing into the trooper, but it's at 4 health. Like the clapback is just completely in Voltoir's favor.
Yeah, it's an interesting play there. So we also saw Jax not go for a hit with his own A wing. He could have taken out that TIE Vanguard or hit the base,
Hmm.
both of which would have been good in my opinion. But he decided to go for initiative so he could heroic sacrifice here. Um,
Yeah.
Very interesting play there for sure. He will draw 2 cards off of that, but does kill his own Yoda.
Yeah, cycling through maybe towards some later game threats, which I do like quite a bit. The Yoda is there to stall this early game to go into what is like the sweet spot of the deck. So don't necessarily mind throwing the sacrifice and the Yoda in, especially since they kind of cycle. But we are going to see Phantom down. Not going to be as dangerous as it would be in other matchups. There's not a lot of removal in Jax's deck. I guess there are a handful early on, but as we were talking about, Reflections is going to be a pretty clean answer. This card beats anything that says that it defeats a unit, but it does not beat anything that gives it -2 on the health side, because the rules of the game end up defeating it rather than the rules of the card. Minute thing that is really going to be important in the control matchup in the next set.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and it's an interesting thing here. So Voltaire did have the initiative, but he's not going to go for the pump with Tarkin because he would
Yeah.
still die to red 3, I believe. But yeah, that will allow him to die to Mystic Reflections this turn. So, oh well, I spoke too soon.
We are going to get an experience on the Phantom here, but through a little bit of board development as well. So, pretty happy to see that, and we're going to return that to the hand. I think part of the usage of Triple Dark Raid in this deck is getting these like smaller early cost units out that can be played pretty cheaply and getting the experience buffs as well, um, which is pretty clever. I think this card is going to be really interesting to see develop. There's a couple ways you can play it. Play it into like the really big boats, something like Avenger. When that hits the field and attacks in the same turn, it's really like destructive. Um, but using it for these small experience units is a really clever use case, and I like Voltor's game plan here.
Yeah, I really do as well. Interesting that he chose to not attack with the Tarkin first. But we will see Han go into that Tarkin to give him 3 damage.
Yep.
Um, let's see.
And now he could swing into the Kenobi, but it's kind of a self-sacrifice. Not in love with that play.
Yeah, I don't like that either, honestly.
Overwhelming Barrage is a meaningful option in this next play with initiative here. That is going to get you enough damage to take something off of the board, but it is your whole turn. I don't know if it's completely worth it. And you are, if you're not killing the Ben Kenobi here, it gives it a chance to give experience to the next play. Um, oh, nice, yeah, clean answer right there. We see the reflections as prescribed.
Yep, it's a good answer for that card. It's one of the very few cards that can do that in one go.
Yeah, and nice and cheap too. One resource for that. Really really clean answer for Phantom.
And the board state here is getting out of hand for Jax. Ben Kenobi going with the forces with me, or not sure where that
Yep.
card. Yeah, it looks like he's gonna go on Han Solo.
And swinging in, defeating the Tarkin. Yeah, this is looking good for Jax. Exactly where they want to be going into this late game with Luke in hand. Gorilla Attack Pod definitely going to be a factor, even with no damage on the base for Voltor. You're looking at a 4/6 with grit. Nice, strong unit hitting the board soon. Um, and
Yeah,
Voltor needs to clean up. Yeah.
yeah, the force throw there to kill off the TIE Vanguard.
Ooh,
Very good
brutal.
card.
Yeah, holding on to the Dark Raid and the Reinforcement Walker. We are going to see another Dark Raid here on the field, and it kind of up to the luck of the draw. I mean, 7 cards, you're going to find a hit in a deck built around this, but when most of your cards are looking for this experience game, the one problem you have is that they are bouncing back to hand afterwards, so nothing's going to stick.
Yeah, it's a very interesting choice to do that. Against Han in particular, it's going to be a very tough matchup in my opinion, just because of how fast this Han deck can run. But an ATST is a fantastic grab here. That'll be able to overwhelm into that Ben Kenobi. Um,
Yeah, it'll certainly
Actually,
be able to punch a hole, and we do have another Dark Raid in hand to maybe push those numbers up a bit further if wanted. But yeah, right now, I mean, that's going to get taken down a peg by the Luke.
ouch. Yeah, that hurts.
Yeah, incredible board state for Jax right now. Even with the trade here, that is just going to buff up the remaining units on the board, and um, this Chicken Walker is going right back to hand at the end of this turn. So they're thinking they're maybe looking to claim initiative here, just set up for the next turn. All the resources are spent. You could swing with Han, I suppose, and rack some more damage up on the board, but I mean, what could Jax be worried about at this point? I think they're really locking down the ground.
Yeah, Tarkin was not able to build the spaceport that he wanted. And yeah, like you said, this triple darks coming back to hand every single phase is really hurting him. He's losing out on the damage now, where he had an early advantage. And we see some massive units like the Luke that hits for 8 right now.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean that's just gonna trade cleanly into the reinforcement walker as soon as it hits the board. You get a little bit of health back, but you're looking for card draw that's gonna put you in the right direction, and so far Voltoir not able to find it.
yeah, and there's the forces with me to shield up Luke and take out that reinforcement walker for free.
Brutal.
Brutal. And
Yeah,
now that Luke
there's a
gets
lot
switched
of
in.
damage based removal on the side of Voltoir, but no real hard removal. So something like that buffed up Luke is going to stick there forever. It's going to be really tough to come back from that.
Yeah, you'd like to even see some, potentially capture mechanics or really anything hard. But I think the only one that really works in his deck is the overwhelming barrage. He also has no good to me dead, but again, that is not a hard removal.
Yeah, definitely good to stall someone for a couple turns. Very strong temporary removal, but uh, looking for an answer here, and I think yeah, they're just going to call it. That's the game for round one.
Yeah, definitely got out of hand there for Voltaire. But let's see. Let's look at his list. Are there any cards here that you can definitely see coming in? Personally, I think Waylay is going to come off that sideboard.
Yeah, Waylay is huge for these larger targets. Honestly, the whole sideboard feels like it works nicely into mid range. Change of Heart will steal away some of these big creatures that Jax has been sticking in the late game. It feels great to steal a Ben Kenobi and run it into something else, take the experience points. And the boats, of course, that will help lock down that late game a little bit more and work really nicely with Dark Raid. I think Triple Dark Raid onto Devastator. You're getting really clean removal, a big swing in the air. Um, that can help close a game out if you know you've got that damage, but your board is starting to dwindle. It's a good way to end things before they get kind of gnarly.
Yeah, absolutely. I can definitely see Devastator, Change of Heart, and Waylay all coming in here. And
Hmm.
yeah, that I mean, like you mentioned, all of those are very powerful cards. So I don't see any reason why Voltaire wouldn't be bringing those into this matchup.
Right. And on Jax's side, I mean, the Mystic Reflection definitely came in handy, and Force Throw as well. You could board in more of those. I don't know that you're gonna need too much more discard beyond that. Fell the Dragon, definitely a factor if you're expecting this post board play. I mean, they know each other's deck list, so I think if you're Jax, you expect to see some bigger units in the air in game two. And Fell the Dragon is a great choice into those plays, but you got to be careful. You know, if you have three of those in your deck and you're running into a bunch of three drops, it could feel really clunky if you drew two at a time. You know.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm not sure how much Fell the Dragons will be brought in, but I can definitely see one or two of those
Hmm.
to clear up like the Devastator. That's a massive swing in the advantage of Jax if he was able to pull that
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, huge tempo play if you can, you know, trade their 10 resources for your 4. I mean, the Devastator on play ability is always going to come out. That trade is there, but feels nice not to worry about 10 overwhelm in the air.
Absolutely. We're on to game two. Interesting start here. I really do like that double ISB agent. That potentially could be pretty strong.
Yeah, definitely a fast start. So a little bit of damage on something that you don't want to see anymore. Pops a shield, which is really nice going into the security complex. You might even want to save one of those for a shield down the way, but Yoda on the opening here, not bad. Looking at sort of a 2-2, and the draw card ability. Honestly, I love Yoda in this Young Han deck. I feel like 2-2 draw card on your first turn is an incredible play for sort of like a value game.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And even just swinging for two, he's really strong. And then yeah, on Tarkin's side here, we see the ISB agent get buffed up. So even if Yoda does get shielded by the security complex, that other ISB agent in hand will be able to take him down. Uh,
Oh, that's true. Yeah, clean answer. And the a small unit like this really benefits from the experience, right? Like you're doubling its strength when it hits the ground. So definitely strong with the Tarkin play. Looking at a 2-4 on the ground versus this half strength Yoda.
we're gonna see a force throw.
All right, choosing. And that is a force unit, so the damage will be done. I guess, yeah, deciding to pitch the second ISB agent, 1 damage on their own unit, not too bad. Honestly, one of the best outcomes you could ask for with a force throw.
Absolutely, yeah, he'll still be able to kill that Yoda, and survive, which would be nice for Tarkin.
Yeah. Snowtrooper Lieutenant, not a huge play here unless they start going for damage directly onto the base. I think maybe feeling that out right now with the Tarkin play just to see what uh, Jax is going to do here with the remaining resources. And they're just going to swing in for two. All right, going for the trade instead. And I wonder if they're going to hold here or if they're just going to play out the Snowtrooper for board.
I really guess he's going to take the initiative. All right, maybe not. Playing that Snowtrooper down, it's a little bit of a waste, but it's also another Tarkin unit, so it's really not
Yeah, you figure
bad.
it's mana efficient, but you're missing out on the +2 swing. It's like, we run Fleet Lieutenant in the Rebel decks so frequently because how strong that tool is, and you're missing out on a little bit of that, but having a wider board could be good on some of these tall units that Jax is playing.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see Kane and Jarrus come down. 4/5 on attack can heal and mill, which is very strong.
Yeah, that is very strong, and I saw that snap thought for Waylay. I think I'm in the same boat. I'm just like, get this guy out of here. Let's skip a turn.
Yeah, I
But
think we're
it's
definitely
tough.
going to see Waylay.
I mean, there's so many good targets for Waylay in this deck. Poe coming down later, you end up being even a little bit more like efficient on the play. But Waylay is your best play here. I mean, Triple Dark could net you a few more experience, and you're playing into a riskier game plan there, but with some really good options. Waylay is just a little bit safer.
Yeah, I like the Waylay there. I think he was trying to bait out the security complex on Kanan, but it did not work out.
Yeah,
We can see, yeah, a lot of plays this round. I think the Poe Dameron just makes the most sense from
yeah. You could
Jax.
play Poe Raw for 5 and 6/6 on the board, looking pretty good. But gonna ready Han instead for now. Just see if they can get another action out of Voltoir. I mean, this is definitely your barrage turn, and the ISB agent getting a little bit bigger every turn right now. Looking at a 4 damage before the barrage, so that would clean up Poe very cleanly. This forces Voltor into a position where they could take that action a little preemptively and put themselves in trouble. Oh yeah, huge trade.
Yeah, that's a
Smart.
good trade. Yeah, Snowtrooper going into the base makes sense, and then we're gonna see the Tarkin buff afterward, uh, as an overwhelm target, I believe.
Yep, so good. And but the thing is, they had to spend that one for the buff, so now they're down to 4 resources. No overwhelming barrage will be dropped on this turn.
We'll see a triple dark.
Okay, what do we get here?
Ooh, a lot of good options.
Yeah, there's some good
Um,
stuff in here. A lot of this is still going to be a bit expensive for the play. I think Phantom might be their only option at the 1 resource.
yeah,
That card gets a lot stronger when in your late turns when your reinforcement walker is 6 instead of 8. But the little guys I do like quite a bit as an option here, and you're getting your card back into your hand afterwards if it survives. So not really sacrificing card advantage.
yeah, you're absolutely right. Um, yeah, this is very interesting. Letting that Poe survive and not claiming the initiative, but instead going for that triple dark, I think was definitely a call. I'm not sure if I like it though, because now we can see a Mace Windu come down. We could see Redemption, or not Redemption, Kanan Jarrus and a K2, something like that. I think is very
Yeah,
strong.
being able to play both of those in one turn is pretty nuts. And yeah, the Poe is going to get some damage in, discards potentially coming down. Uh, and what are we asking for here? Are we asking for a discard to the hand? 2 damage on the second unit doesn't seem too meaningful, but uh,
Yeah, that first
lots you can
one.
do with the Poe.
Yeah, the Poe definitely got rid of or did damage to Tarkin.
Yep,
Um,
and we are going to see the discard
in
here,
the discard.
pressuring the
Okay,
hand.
that's pretty strong. And then a third discard to get rid of an experience.
Oh, thinking
Nope,
about it.
he was thinking about it.
Feels good to dump your hand onto 1 swing from the Poe, but I don't know if the experience is worth the card in hand here. That one definitely is the most conditional of Poe's options. I think the 2 damage for a discard in hand can be really impactful since it's all in the same action. For the defeated upgrade, you really want to hit something real.
Yeah,
Experience not always worth it.
not always. Here it actually might have been very key. So we could see an overwhelming barrage for 6 damage.
That's
Uh,
true.
that can go 4 into Poe and 2 into Han, or he can kill Han and get Poe at 1 HP. But either
Yeah, I think
way,
if you kill
yeah,
Poe here, you can swing into Han on the follow up, which is definitely a solid play. Your snowtrooper stays alive at the 4/4, even after the overwhelming barrage goes away. I mean, I don't see a better play. I guess you could argue for the tie to buff up the snowtrooper further and maybe try to get a greedier barrage down the lane, but it gets scarier every turn. There's something in hand here has got to deal with it eventually.
yeah, I don't like this tie play at all. We can still see Mace Windu come down. It's only going to deal 5 damage, but if he hits the Snowtrooper Lieutenant first with Han, then he can actually kill with Windu.
And that
Um,
that is a big trade, but Poe staying on board is definitely strong. Could definitely be worth it.
let's see, so he is going to Windu.
Yep, we're gonna see Windu drop at 5, and are we going for the swing? Yes. Okay, so the trade is there. Uh, and looking to trade some of this board in to the Snowtrooper.
Going 6 to base is
Oh, I
very
see.
good.
So potentially we're looking for a triple dark raid into something like Devastator. That cleans up Jax on the play because with the security complex you've only got 25 health. So really anything that does 8 at this point is enough to seal this game. And honestly, Voltoir's base looking pretty healthy at 8.
Yeah, he's in a good position to take this one. We do have a redemption that can come down, which is really scary. Uh, Overwhelming
Oh
Barrage
yeah.
first is disgusting to kill out that Poe, and
Yeah,
we are going to receive
redemption.
redemption.
I mean, this does take a little bit of a hit from Han. Your healing potential's just a touch smaller than on the next turn, but definitely worth it keeping that base low on damage and representing a solid like sentinel threat in the air too. I mean, you kind of have to trade into this just so you're not getting hit on the initiative swing. And I think that Voltor could be happy to do that. There are other space threats in hand. Um, And so to just knock this over, get it out of the way, it makes some sense to me. But this does block a ton of damage.
Yeah, right now it's blocking 5, which is insane.
Yeah, blocking 5 and healing 6. I mean, that's an incredible stall play.
Yeah, that's exactly what Jax needed there to really bring himself back. And he's hoping for a Crate Dragon or something like that. And it could totally change the way that this game is played. Really, any of those late game cards. We do see a Poe in hand and it forces with me, so he's still got options. And I'm looking at Voltaire's hand, and I see a bit of a weakness to it, especially now that there's only 11 damage on Jax's base. He's not able to really push down that pressure as much as he's wanting to in this game.
Yeah, and we are gonna see Poe drop to the field. Um, Voltoir representing a lot of damage in space, but the ground looking like very able to race them, and something like Poe is going to be able to put extra pressure on the hand and on the board. So maybe we see a waylay here just to kind of keep this race in Voltoir's favor.
Yeah, I think it's forced to do the waylay there. Um, we do see security complex on Kanan to keep him healthy, and
Yeah,
it's a good thing
and
he
I
put it on
mean,
Poe.
I think Poe. Well, we're gonna waylay the cannon anyway. Interesting. I guess. What are we worried about with that shield right now is the question, because really it looks like the win condition for Voltor is just pop this triple dark raid, land on something big, and then take this game over. And I think there's a lot of room to do that on this turn.
Yeah, I'm looking at it the same way. We could see a forces with me, so maybe he was worried about that with the Kanan on the field. It would give Poe a shield as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
Jax's hand is strong, but it's looking a little slow to deal with anything big in the air here. And what are we at? 9 resources. So with triple dark raid, any of the boats comes down this turn.
oh yeah, he can play Devastator or really anything. I think we saw the Relentless in there as well.
I think Devastator just wins this game.
Very well could. We see a force throw to kill the Outland Tai Vanguard. Now we're gonna see the Triple Dark.
Okay, who's in there?
Oh, you're right. Yeah, totally.
Nothing too big,
Oh.
nothing too scary. Oh, that's so good. The 2 experience on the Phantom makes it pretty much unkillable by a control deck.
Yeah. So that's 4. Plus we have the surprise strike. It's 3. So that's 7. We have 10 damage coming in this round. So he's gonna be
Almost.
one short. Oh wait, Tarkin. My bad. I misspoke.
Oh yeah, there you go.
That's it.
Found the line. Tarkin up 1, and with no restore on the board here, and no blockers in space, I think that's just barely enough.
Yeah, and that's why killing the Kanan was so important. Poe could definitely take out one of those space units, but the Kanan Jarrus healing and milling a card, that would have been that triple dark raid, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, Triple Dark Raid, I think is a card that I was really high on in the reveals, and I'm still feeling that way. I think that being able to enter the board ready, first of all, to tutor your deck for 7 cards and be able to pick and choose. U-Wing is strong for the same reason, right? Like
Right.
you're able to be very conditional about your play, and if you're building around the card, you're going to have a lot of hits in that 7 cards that you draw. Uh, Something entering and being able to attack on the same turn is huge for the race, huge for tempo, and even that it bounces back to your hand, something that has on play effects is going to be devastating, and returning to your hand means you get to use those on play effects again.
Yeah, we're getting to game 3 here. I didn't see any additional sideboarding from either player. Um,
Just right back at it.
yeah, and we're gonna see basically the exact same play. Uh,
Yeah, this is funny. Yeah, Yoda and ISB right back on the field.
Security complex will be used though this time.
Yep. Yeah, using this with a touch earlier, and I think I like that play here. It doesn't seem like ISP is going to be able to really punch through. It does have a little bit of health, so it's going to be able to like swing back if it gets hit. But Yoda staying alive, and this will give Jax a little bit of room to control the board early.
Yeah, with the Outland Tai Vanguard, it does set up that nice swoop down, which will give it Saboteur, so that Yoda is very vulnerable to that Outland Tai Vanguard.
Ah,
Um,
that's interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
Same with the
being able
Kanan.
to get past shields. The Saboteur is so funny on that card. It's something that you don't think of, but being able to surpass shields is going to get more and more important as there are more cards that give them, right? Like you have entire decks that are kind of built around a shielding process, like Gar Saxon. And so Saboteur for a while was just a way to put damage on the base, but now there's some utility on the board as well.
Talking about shields, and you're not even going to mention Luke Skywalker. Oh my goodness, that's
Yeah,
criminal.
I mean, that hero is pretty strong in the first season, and I think still has some utility. There are lots of new heroic cards that you're happy to shield up. But yeah, Swoop Down is just gonna help nullify that as this new meta develops. And again, we're looking pretty uncontested in space. No options in hand. I mean, Heroic Strike can maybe help you tutor some things out, and we're doing that right now. We just want to draw into some answers here because this taking over space game plan for Voltoir has been working out a lot better post board.
Oh yeah, 100%. We do find a Green Squadron A Wing in Jax's hand, which
Yep, and
is gonna
we're
be
we're
good.
coming in exhausted. I mean, that's gonna stave off 3 damage, but it's cannon fodder without the raid.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the tie advance since Voltor has the first action, just takes that out. Yeah,
Yeah, just run right
staying
into it.
alive.
It really is just a heal 3 there, and I think that Jax has to be happy with that. I mean, the base race is already hard enough with 5 less HP, but um, with triple dark raid going into these big units late game, you're not really safe at like 12. You're not safe at 15. Like that's one hit away. That's one good high roll, unless you can contest the space.
Yeah, and we see Red 3 get taken out by the Outland TIE Vanguard, and Yoda comes down. That Mystic Reflection next round will kill one of those units, probably that Outland TIE Vanguard. And on the side for Voltor, we see the Lurking TIE Phantom getting experience, and then Moff Tarkin will deploy, which can kill
Here's the
Yoda.
thing: Mystic can kill a raw Tie Phantom, but Tie Phantom with 1 experience, Tie Phantom with 2 experience, suddenly a little bit healthier. It's gonna
Yeah,
slow it down for a turn, but now that thing is looking pretty indestructible.
and the Mystic Reflection can't even kill a unit now because Yoda's off the board.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, those force units. I mean, there's a lot of options in this deck, but you do find yourself in positions, especially with the Han leader. Han does not have the force tag. I think uh, this deck kind of primarily utilized Chirrut in the last set, and part of the reason you do that is because you always have force on the deploy.
Right. And we'll see Han Solo take out the Tarkin there. But we're going to see, what is that, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 damage come in this round. Sorry, I just counted live there, but
Yeah,
17
space
damage.
space is being fully taken over, and we have another tie advance in the hand.
Yeah, so that's 19 damage this round. Lurking TIE Phantom is a 6/6.
Like, do you even knock this red 3? I think you just go zooming right past it.
No, yeah, he just goes for the win here.
And yeah, Tarkin has not been utilized yet.
He's gonna take out the okay. He's gonna take out the
Okay,
red
we're
3.
swinging on it.
Well, Tarkin can't be used because he was
Oh, you just
defeated
got
this round.
killed. That's
Yeah.
right. Okay.
But Triple Dark, I mean, that basically puts this in the bag. I don't
I
see
mean, well,
any
yeah,
way for Jax to come out of this.
Young Han cannot force a super laser blast here. That's kind of the quick and dirty of it. The space is so well represented here. I think the game plan for Voltor working out just as planned. And I don't know what that first game, what happened there, but since then, space has just been dominated. And at 29 on the base, I think we pack it up. That's game.
That's it, yeah. That Lurking TIE Phantom was hitting for 8 damage with that raid too. That is
That
an
is crazy.
insane amount.
Okay, we might have something here. Looking at these deck lists early on, it felt like this was kind of like forcing a situation, having some fun, and trying something kind of funny. But Tarkin really snowballed a lot of these units, and usage of triple dark to make the best out of these experience buffing like when played effects. Outlaw TIE Vanguard and TIE Advance, those are, having their effect on the board, and they're coming right back to hand. And you get to do that all over again. You get 2 or 3 damage in on the way. Like, really interesting game plan from Voltoir.
Yeah, and not being able to keep his force units on the ground really hurt. That Mystic Reflection, it does require a force unit to kill something, uh, versus paying 2 extra for the make an opening, which would have healed too. So I'm not sure if he has an idea of maybe I switch out those Mystic Reflections for the make an openings, but it really hurt him in this game not being able to kill that lurking tie when it came out initially, and then of course everything in the space arena was impossible for him to kill with his weaker space. Red 3 and uh, what is that? Uh, the Green Squadron A Wing are
Yeah,
both
the
very
A-Wing,
weak.
they're really great on the offense, but at that point, space was entirely on the back foot for Jax, and the 1-3 is not cutting it. You're happy to trade into that with the TIE Advance. Uh, with Reflection, it feels good at 1, but it is one of these conditional cards, and we've seen before, sometimes the consistency is very much worth the extra resource or two, because that needs to come down the action that the Phantom drops. Otherwise, Tarkin's going to put it out of range. It's going to get way out of control, and we just saw how much damage that can do. Eight on the swing on 7 resources from a 3-drop.
Yeah, from a 3 drop.
It's
That was
crazy.
massive. Those tie advance definitely putting in some serious work there. I don't. Did he draw 3 of them this round? I think at least 2.
I think
So
I at least saw like 2 hit the board, and the thing about triple dark raid is that you are thumbing through a bunch of your deck to find what you want. Like, if you're playing into control, if you're playing into removal spells, you can tutor one of those out because it'll be good from hand the next turn anyway.
right, yeah. And yeah, I mean, in this game, he was able to take advantage of, Han wanted to race, definitely. But by trading down the ground arena and then just continuing to build up his space arena, he was able to take a very clear advantage and, yeah, just convert that into a ton of damage. I think one thing that Voltor showed us really well here is that you got to stay focused on the objective, which is, of course, defeating your opponent by killing his base. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just managing to stay on top of that while also trading down the board as he could was just super super well played from both of these guys, but especially Voltaire there. Voltaire, yeah, you could really tell that he knows how to play this deck. I mean, he knows how to stay on the objective. So that was very very good.
Yeah,
So
great stuff from both players. I'm excited to see more Voltor down the way. I'm curious how this deck fares into other matchups. It's so interesting to see experience being such a factor on the board here, and so good luck to them moving on in this bracket. And Jax has the bones something really strong here. I think didn't get to draw into some of these strong removal spells like Luke or Chewbacca as much as they may have wanted, and those could have definitely swung things. So adding on a couple of those, taking away something that didn't hit quite as hard, could be a way to bring this deck into a really competitive space. So good stuff to both players.
yeah, absolutely. Well, that's gonna wrap it up for me. Late night stream here, 32 minutes. So I'm glad they kept it short because I
Yeah,
gotta work in the
clean.
morning.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I think I can make that work. I took a nap earlier on, and we got some aggro players in the cut. I think they'll help me out here, and we were right.
Yeah, yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, 3 games.
Well, I appreciate you joining me.
Yes, thank you.
Before
Thank you for having me.
yeah, before we go, is there anything you want to plug? I don't know.
No, I mean, it's pre-order season. If you haven't signed up yet, find your locals. The game stores are super important, and everyone's popping off right now. It's early enough in this game. It's very hot. People are signing up, but those places keep the game alive. So you're looking at a few like releases down the way, a year or two out. You find the space that's running this thing well, and you try to go there as much as you can. You play, be nice to the staff, and it'll keep this game alive. So we're all having fun. Season 2 is gonna be a blast. So yeah, play online, play offline, and have some fun.
Absolutely, I totally love that message. So yeah, definitely go find your local gaming store and show them some love. Uh, great having you with me, Dormancy, and I will catch you all in the next one.
Absolutely. Yeah. Cheers. We'll see you soon.
See ya.